The story of ancient Egypt, a civilization that endured for millennia. Introduction. Ancient Egypt is one of the most fascinating and enduring civilizations in human history. Spanning over 3,000 years, its contributions to art, architecture, science, religion, and governance continue to resonate in modern times. This civilization thrived along the Nile River, one of the longest rivers in the world, providing water, transportation, and fertile land that made Egypt a center of culture and learning. The formation of ancient Egypt, circa 3100 BCE. The history of ancient Egypt begins with the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, around 3100 BCE, under the leadership of the first pharaoh, Narmer, also known as Menes. This marked the beginning of the early dynastic period and the establishment of the first dynasty. The unification of Egypt created a centralized state with a powerful monarchy that would last for millennia. The pharaoh was considered both the political and spiritual leader of Egypt, believed to be the divine representative of the gods on earth. The position of the pharaoh was so intertwined with religious beliefs that the monarchy itself became a symbol of divine order and harmony, known as Ma'at. The Old Kingdom, circa 2686 to 2181 BCE. The Old Kingdom is perhaps best known for the construction of the pyramids of Giza, including the Great Pyramid of Khufu, one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. This era saw the development of monumental architecture, with the pyramids being the most iconic symbols of Egypt's power and religious beliefs. The pyramids were built as tombs for the pharaohs, reflecting their belief in the afterlife. The idea was that the pharaoh would be reborn into the afterlife and continue to rule, so the tombs were constructed to ensure the pharaoh's immortality. The first intermediate period, circa 2181 to 2055 BCE. Following the decline of the Old Kingdom, Egypt entered the first intermediate period, a time of political instability and decentralization. The central government weakened, and regional rulers, known as nomarchs, gained more power. This period was marked by conflict, famine, and a breakdown of the unity that had once characterized the country. The Middle Kingdom, circa 2055 to 1650 BCE. The Middle Kingdom began with the reunification of Egypt by the pharaoh Mentuhotep II, who brought stability back to the country. This era is often considered a golden age in Egyptian history, marked by cultural, political, and economic prosperity. The Middle Kingdom pharaohs expanded trade, established military campaigns in Nubia and the Levant, and undertook ambitious building projects, such as the construction of temples and fortifications. The Middle Kingdom also saw a flourishing of literature, with works like the Instruction of Amenemhat offering insights into the values and ideals of ancient Egyptian society. The Second Intermediate Period, circa 1650 to 1550 BCE. After the Middle Kingdom, Egypt again fell into a period of division, marked by the arrival of the Hyksos, a foreign Semitic people from the Near East. The Hyksos ruled parts of Egypt for over a century and introduced new technologies, such as the chariot and improved weaponry. However, their rule was eventually overthrown by the Egyptian pharaohs of the Theban dynasty. The New Kingdom, circa 1550 to 1070 BCE. The New Kingdom represents the height of ancient Egyptian power and prestige. Under pharaohs like Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, Amenhotep III, Akhenaten, Tutankhamun, and Ramses II, Egypt reached the peak of its military, cultural, and architectural achievements. Hatshepsut was one of the most remarkable pharaohs, being a woman who took on the full powers of the pharaoh and expanded trade routes. Thutmose III, known as the Napoleon of Egypt, led successful military campaigns in Syria and Palestine, extending Egypt's borders. Amenhotep III presided over a period of great peace and prosperity, while his successor, Akhenaten, attempted religious reform by focusing worship on a single god, Aten. However, Akhenaten's religious revolution was short-lived, and after his death, Tutankhamun ascended to the throne. Though his reign was brief and he was still a child when he died, the discovery of his nearly intact tomb by Howard Carter in 1922 made him the most famous pharaoh of the modern era. Ramses II, also known as Ramses the Great, was one of the longest-reigning pharaohs in Egyptian history, ruling for 66 years. His reign was marked by military successes, monumental building projects, and the signing of the first known peace treaty with the Hittites. The Third Intermediate Period, circa 1070-664 BCE. After the New Kingdom, Egypt entered a period of instability known as the Third Intermediate Period. This era saw a division of power between the Libyan rulers, the Nubians, and the priests of Ammonius. Egypt faced internal conflicts and invasions from neighboring peoples, which weakened the pharaoh's authority. The Late Period, c. 664 to 332 BCE. The Late Period began with the reunification of Egypt under the Sate dynasty. During this time, Egypt saw a resurgence in culture and power, although it remained vulnerable to foreign invasions. In the 7th century BCE, the Assyrians invaded Egypt, and later, the Persians under Cambyses II took control of the country. Despite periods of independence, Egypt eventually became a Persian satrapy, province, until the conquest of Alexander the Great. The Greek and Roman periods, 332 BCE, 30 BCE. The conquest of Egypt by Alexander the Great in 332 BCE marked the end of the native Egyptian rule and the beginning of the Ptolemaic dynasty, founded by Ptolemy I, one of Alexander's generals. This period brought Greek influence into Egyptian culture, particularly under the reign of Cleopatra VII, the last and most famous Ptolemaic ruler. Cleopatra's efforts to maintain Egypt's independence from Rome ultimately failed, and after her defeat by Octavian, Augustus, in 30 BCE, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. Egypt's religious beliefs and mythology, particularly its pantheon of gods such as Ra, Osiris, Isis, and Horus, had a lasting impact on various cultures in the ancient world and beyond. The Egyptians also developed complex rituals surrounding death, including the practice of mummification, which they believed would ensure the soul's survival in the afterlife. The grandeur of Egypt's monuments, particularly its temples, pyramids, and statues, continues to awe visitors today. The discovery of ancient Egyptian artifacts, including the famous Rosetta Stone, which helped scholars unlock the mysteries of hieroglyphs, has provided invaluable insights into this remarkable civilization. Conclusion: Ancient Egypt's story is one of innovation, power, cultural richness, and spiritual depth. From its first unification under Narmer to its eventual integration into the Roman Empire, Egypt's contributions to human civilization remain enduring and influential. It is a testament to the creativity, resilience, and belief systems that shaped one of the world's oldest cultures.